Good morning, fellows. Hi, this international conflict that's raging that has left the whole world either divided or completely pessimistic about the outcome because the world bodies like UN Security Council couldn't veto on the temporary ceasefire or at least oppose for humanitarian corridor access because most of the Palestinians have been under heavy bombardment. And now the second phase of Israeli government's incursion for a bid for total invasion of Palestine under the pretext of ousting or obliterating Hamas once forever. That seems unlikely in the quagmire because it's a 30 years of preparedness and painstakingly the operatives have been into gearing up to meet this eventuality. And Netanyahu is being condemned for faults after faults because he's losing the popularity among his own people. First of all, the dismal failure of the intelligence input. The hundreds of Israelis who were killed, they haven't been even identified so far. That means the government has all out, condemnations from his own people and worldwide. Majority of the Islamic states, like including 51 of them, they are in unison clamoring for immediate ceasefire or at least a pause of the advancing heavy military jet fighters above the ground, pounding all the time, including at night, with key infrastructure and most of the buildings raised to the grounds. And the entire populace is being threatened. It seems like they are all out for not even mindful of how many casualties they're going to cause in their bid to flush out those operatives or so-called Hamas terrorists maybe hiding in the bunker, and they're using bunker buster bombs, which are lethal, and they operate like horizontally and vertically, and they pulverize, and they're really too penetrating to cause damages to the other buildings nearby. In fact, majority of buildings already shaking and pulverized, and it's like a earthquake, tsunami like situations where, and the world bodies which are all out for rescue operations, and including UNICEF, and they find it hard in absence of the communication. Internet was down. There was no communication channels operational. Even the power was, there was load shedding, complete outage, which crippled and hamper all the rescue operations because the 100 trucks loaded with essential commodities, including medical aids, which are essentially the only hope for those dying and dismembered or those who are in need of instant medical care, and even the hospitals are no more operational due to the scarcity of medicals. Phone charging stations are out. There is no power, and partial restored power has come to be seen in certain areas, and somehow the news is spreading. There has been some communication being established, but it's very difficult to reach to the people to distribute the foods and supplies which are already, in the posterity, and it is like its initial stage of the civil rights situation, like civil war, in which people are dying desperately, and they're climbing for help. And now, it's very hard for the rescue operationals to work with kind of distribution system they have, kind of patience, and there has been cases of looting, and young guys are indulging in. So it's getting difficult because of the shortage of supplies, and the essential needs are running out. In the wake of this all-out advancing of the land tanks and the aerial bombardments, along with even the Navy, I mean, they have also been pressed into services. So initially, the Israeli government is trying to locate and gain an incursion to those areas where they suspect the majority of those Hamas operations are being, facilitated, and in the name of those facilities, which could be maybe housed by the commoners and innocent people, but in order to threaten the existence of war. So obviously, Israeli government is a plausible explanation for them is that it's a mission, and it's the second stage of the operations where this is a short, just a sort of invasion-like situation where they will go all out, and they're going to grab the entire Gaza Strip, flushing out if they find what they call the Hamas terrorists hidings under the tunnels, and bunker buster bombs are being deployed, which has left the entire crumbling infrastructure further down to the zero level. And the scenes are so ghastly and so deplorable, inhuman conditions, especially, thousands, of children are being killed, and it's indiscriminate, it's inhumane, it's horrific, and completely contrary to the international war norms laid down in Geneva Conventions, and their flagrant and brazen disregard for all those rules and laws which come into effect immediately in the war-torn zone, and which has been the norm for saving the general population from being collateral damage. That's what I heard this Israeli government and defense minister and the chief of operations saying that it's war situations, and we are confronting our deadliest enemies, and we are there to obliterate, eliminate, and they're not going to be seen again in the coming 100 years. And they haven't heard of something like this in 100 years. That seems not to be really practicable, in the sense that commoners people are mostly to bear the brunt of these advances, and even the Israelis in general, they are not in favor of this kind of operations, neglecting the entire world's clamor for justice and a UN, and hoping that General Assembly has also somehow managed to get a majority vote in favor of the aid being managed and siphoned, the 100 trucks, and somehow they're reaching to those who need them the most, and in the urgent pressing need. U.S. stance has been clear and quite contrary to what is believed to be as a principal nation, and a champion of the freedom of justice, and they have vetoed against that human corridor, and despite the appeal and impassionate requests from worldwide, all the 51, 56 Islamic organizations, and they have been pressing ahead with the demand for immediate cessation of the advancing assault after assault and raids after raids and bombardments, and without any care for the casualties, which is mounting every day. It's reached above 8,000, mostly men, women, children, and helpless innocent people included. And the hostile situation that has paved the way for this kind of incursion or invasion, full-scale invasion, in the long run, the hostage situation remains the same. What Israeli government is hoping to is to isolate and target those kind of potential hiding cache of munitions or terrorists, what they call. Also, in order to gain access to those who have been held captive, and forcing those captors bow down before them and say, so that's not going to, I mean, it's a highly unlikely institution where common people and those who are internally exactly, I mean, mixed with, it's hard to distinguish who are the terrorists, who are the commoners, who are the victims, and who are the sympathizers. In this situation, we never know, and it's an operation that has never been undertaken by Israeli government, despite its robust military, firepower. Its intelligence agencies have miserably failed in even antagonizing or anticipating or giving early warning signs of this scale of attack. So they haven't proven to be very effective, despite the much touted or proclaimed to be one of the best in the world. And they're pressing ahead with all kinds of deployment, all sorts of ammunitions, advanced carriers, and F-16 and F-15 have been pressed into. And even US is all out for targeting those Iranian properties where there is claimed to have attacked Iranians, and now Iranians, they have come up with a warning of dire consequences if US continues to aid and abet this kind of nefarious activities on, and this is going to snowball, escalate, and the entire neighboring regions are going to be involved in this, and that would spell disaster for the rest of the world, which can we can ill afford to go for such kind of full-scale war with the involvement of so many parties, Russia and China, and surprisingly, India has backed out of giving assent to this bill. That it has gone against, abstained from asking, UN resolution on bringing about immediate cessation or humanitarian corridor. That seems to be really outrageous on the part of India, because India has always been supportive of and has stood by the principles of non-alignment and has always come to rescue of those who are victimized, and it always stood on the right side. But I really wonder what's wrong with the foreign policy of India these days, and simply because they said that the first attack by Hamas wasn't mentioned there. It wasn't, as the world is asking for that. It wasn't mentioned that they started first, and it has to be denounced in the clearest possible term. So the days ahead are not quite rosy, in the sense that there appears to be no amicable settlement, and if the warring parties, they don't come to the table and then hammer out a lasting solution to this. And the only solution that to me is stays the same, the two-state policies, which has been backed and always been, at the forefront of US, and they have reached a stage where, there was a situation this could have been resolved forever, and could have been passed with a resolution with and separate two states, so its coexistence, and that's the only way out, because you can flush out people, dismember and leave them ravaged, and you can invade the places and all that. You can make refugees, and you can always do that, but you cannot kill the principle of sovereignty or being a republic nation. Palestinians have every right to proclaim themselves as a nation, because they are the inhabitants of that place, and there's nothing they're asking for which is illegitimate. The only thing is that both Israel and Palestine have to learn to live as neighbors, regardless of their religious affiliations or their claims to those bone of contention, which remains Dome of Rock, Masjid al-Aqsa, and which supposed to be the most sacred places for all three religions, which are always gone hand in hand and worked in tandem, and have so much of resilience and coexistence. And I mean, this is all three religions are the offshoots of the same basic tenets of human devotional and religious sanctity or religious convictions. So hoping to get all these stakeholders, especially the stakeholders, I mean Islamic State, Islam organizations and UN Security Councils, which have the veto power, and Russia is backing, and US has got to change stance, because it cannot continue to foster animosity among the neighboring states simply because something has gone wrong previously or once in a while. So of course terrorism has no sanctity anywhere in any country, and no one is going to support this kind of. But what lies with this is the discontent, the simmering. It is boiled down to the fact that if you keep crushing the legitimate rights of the people, there will be counter offensives, and there would be not so pleasant consequences for both the parties. So the world should rise up. It has been doing fantastically great in averting Third World War so far. The UN has played its effective role. The UN Secretary General has been vocal, has been pestering after, has been addressing the concerns of, and Israel and has to be convinced that the government is losing favor with its own people, it's losing its own image, and it has to learn to coexist regardless of the prevailing crisis that. And also it doesn't go in the interest of the Israeli government, because there are, so many, people have been held captives, and the prime focus of any government, including US, Canada, and England, to somehow facilitate the release of them, and their safety has to be paramount. This war can be fought anytime, and this move can always be initiated. But let's first hope that The commoners, civilians, Palestinians do not suffer anymore. There is cessation hostility for at least a pause for the time being, and those who have been kidnapped or held for ransoms or whatever, or a free exchange of those prisoners of war and prisoners, or arranged under the world body. I mean, UN should monitor all this. Hoping to have good days ahead. Wishing everyone good luck and a good day.